the guy who's the proverbial Captain Save-A-Ho, right? Like, he is steady on his path. He knows what he wants to do. He knows he has a mentor. He's working on his life, but he finds himself attracted to the project, the project in her, wanting to help her do better. I don't want to abandon her. I don't want to leave her. I don't want to reject her. I believe in her. She has so much potential. I could see it's working. I'm so attracted to her. And they end up forcing it. And so he looks like he's trying to save her. And that's why what has happened, the phenomenon that's happened in terms of men changing, is because more men are saying she don't want to be saved, so don't save her. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing that strategy is ineffectual. And we are no longer in an industrial type of environment. We're moving into the phase of technology. The life and the rhythm of life is accelerating quickly, exponentially quickly, right? Like, this week flies by. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of changes happen as a result. So that's why you cannot afford to invest in someone who naturally doesn't agree with you on the front end, hoping that they'll agree with you on the back end.
So although I do agree, I do want to, I feel like there's a bigger thing that's happening right now, a phenomenon, and specifically speaking with technology and the influence that it has had on everybody's lives.
Yep.
And if I just were to correlate what you initially said, referring to that passage about a man loving his wife as much as he loves himself,
correct.
I don't believe that most people even love themselves.
Exactly. Yep.
So I can't love you
right
as much as I love me. I don't even love me. Right? And I think that that's happening on both
absolutely
perspectives, women and men. And so a woman wants to be like, yo, I want to listen to you, but I don't even trust my decision making in picking a partner.
Right.
So I don't even know if I'm right when I chose you. So now I'm resisting listening to you. And a man is saying the same thing on the flip side. So I do think that there's a lack of self-love, which is why you see that's one of the biggest trending things on all of social media, is self-love and people teaching themselves how to love themselves, right? When it's all starting from you and it's wrong, that's also your other foundation. Your inner self is not done right. It's not built right. And yet you seek to expand without the proper foundation set. And then you're wondering why you're running into these issues of having resistance when it comes to getting someone to listen to you or being receptive when someone is talking to you, right? And I think that when we get to this point where we understand, listen, your life may look great on social media. I cannot love myself less because I don't feel as accomplished as what you perceive.
Right, perception, that's all.
Yeah, what you perceive to be. So I feel like a lot of that is taking a toll on people's confidence, self-love, and it's also affecting other areas in their life, is bleeding over to their relationships, and they're not even being the proper partner for that relationship, even though they possess the ability to. That's why I think some people want to be saved. They don't know how to just grab the cape. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to hold on and just go into that direction. And, there's a bunch of different reasons, but that's just one of the things that I feel like I'm seeing happen right now.
And to touch on like what you were saying, could any of that be confused with like a person saying their partner is their balance? You know what I mean? Like the whole yin and yang effect. How someone's like, you said he goes to the club, she wants to go to church, or the way you put that. What you're saying basically towards like the end where she's not listening, and they're just not agreeing on things? Or is it that she hasn't been listening this whole time and they may have trauma bonded and that's what's keeping them together?
She hasn't been listening the entire time because part of the reason why we were talking about self-love, part of self-love is to accept yourself. That's what love is. It's acceptance, period. So when you're saying people don't love themselves, we're saying you don't accept yourself. So then we gotta double down now. So what is the acceptance involving? Like what is the context of it? Because what is the content? The context is acceptance. What is the content inside of that context of acceptance? And the content inside of it has to be your purpose. So if your purpose is that you are on this road of having a religious lifestyle and you so happen to choose someone who's outside of the bounds of that, you haven't been listening to anybody, not even yourself. Hence, Rico's point about trust, right? So I know, like, if I'm around someone who's like a general, right? And they are their word. If he said it, he's going to do it. There's trust there. A lot of people, they don't obey themselves. They do not obey themselves. So when you do not obey yourself, you can't count on yourself. When you can't count on yourself, when you see yourself in a relationship, you're already trying to see, I don't even know if I want to, plan this date or plan this trip a year out, because we may not even be together, because you're so inconsistent around your life. You are constantly disobeying yourself. You're constantly breaking your own promises. So of course you don't trust him. Of course you don't trust her, because you refuse to obey yourself. So if you don't establish a rhythm of being able to honor your own word concerning your own life, but you're steady honoring anybody else's word, like, I'll honor my boss. My boss says I got to be here from 9 to 5. You're honoring external outside of yourself. Nobody's taught you how to obey yourself. Of course, we're going to have the phenomenon that we're now seeing, which is why those types of people rule social media. There are a lot of people that exist on the earth. They do not have Facebook. They are not on Instagram. Every person that is on Instagram is not the entire population. There are a lot of people who are not drawn to social media. They're not drawn to creating a historical timeline of what they ate for Thanksgiving for the last 10 years. There are people that exist like that. And those people are more than likely very much entrenched in their purpose, and they recognize social media as a time killer, as a time stealer. They consider social media a thief. And when they identify it as such, they don't engage.
What about, and this is something that I've learned as of recently, there's a lot of people, including myself, who live backwards, right? And for example, let's say, I'm going to just paint the picture. You have a man who goes out and he's always in a club, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're a church woman. But she knows the type of man that he is at his core. He's unwavering. When he's committed, he's committed. He's focused. He's very respected. He's loved by his peers. He contributes to his community. However, he does have some habits that are not conducive to him or the relationship. And maybe she's living backwards because she's banking, and it could be vice versa.
Sure.
That person is banking. Like, a lot of the qualities and traits that we actually want out of people come from the ugliest of situations, right? And when you want somebody that possesses these attributes, sometimes you have to wait it out with them, and like, hopefully, and this is the worst part, hopefully they grow through these phases and becomes the person that you see.
Potential?
I'm talking about potential, but it's also more so like,
Yeah, we give an X on that.
no, it's not really potential. But the thing is, potential is the only potential is to eliminate the bad habits, but it's also proven concept, because all the actual attributes that you desire are there. They are there. They are prevalent. They're displayed on a daily basis within himself, within the relationship, and within his community.
And there's nothing to want.
But I'm saying,
If it exists or it doesn't, there's potential or it's established. I do not recommend any woman to be in a relationship with a man based on his potential, because now he has never agreed to the potential that you have assigned him to become. He was not part of the conversation. He did not understand what your mind was thinking. When that inner recording was playing around and telling you, based on your interpretation of his characteristics, that would be self-serving to you. And then you realize, as life goes on and time is running out and he hasn't displayed and become this potential that you've seen, that's where resentment comes from, and I don't recommend it. And he's looking at you wondering, what is happening here? He's not the man that you wanted him to be. He's not performing the way that you wanted it to, because you made somebody up in your mind based on a character that you see yourself to be, that you're not even her.
So I think, although I do agree, I think we're having two different conversations.
That's why I asked you if it was potential.
No, because he is the person. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The person that she wants, he's possessing and displaying it on a daily basis.
That's not potential.
That's what I'm saying. But he has habits that she is not in alignment with. For example, going out late, coming home at 4 o'clock in the morning. Those habits that he has are not what she actually desires. However, the man that he is what she actually wants, right? So what happens is, when I say live backwards, I'm not saying that it's potential. There's proven concept right there. There's some men who want a great woman, but she has terrible habits, right? And it could be from the influence of her friends. right? But is she a great woman with them? Yes. Does she cook? Does she clean? Does she, fornicate? Yeah. Like, does she listen? Is she receptive? Yeah. But does she have terrible habits? Yes. Now, I think that there's also a time frame that we see a lot of people make or give, right, this leeway to their partner because of their habits. We're like, okay, we're waiting for them to kick the habit. They're already the person that I want, but I don't really align with their
And you leave
habits.
it alone.
But it's not waiting for your partner to kick the habit. Are you setting your boundary? Are you communicating that this is a habit that you don't agree with so that you two in a relationship can figure out whether this is going to work for you guys or not?
See, and I think we get to a point where we try to make it black and white, where there's agreement and then there's alignment, and they're not synonymous. I don't agree or disagree. I'm just not aligned to this habit. Mm-hmm. Can I live with it? Yes. Do I want to? No. But can I? Yes. So in a sense, it's a sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice this as long as I can get that.
In any relationship, you got to take the crooked with the straight.
Yes.
No one is going to be perfect all across the board. If that's something that you demand, you don't deserve to be in a relationship. We have to accept people's flaws. Mm-hmm. So if the conversation here is a person recognizes somebody has some flaws that they would rather they didn't have it, but it's not a deal breaker. It's just more of like a slight nuisance. My recommendation is to take that one on the chin. Let it go. Leave it alone. Don't major the minors. It's nothing to discuss. Leave it alone. If I have to talk about everything in my relationship, I don't want it. If every little thing that bothers you, if everything little thing that bothers you that doesn't resemble you, but you can live in it, it's not a deal breaker. I don't want to talk about it because now we don't have a relationship. We have a nuisance here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna have some challenges, and that's the part where I love you despite and not because.